Hi everyone, welcome again. Thank you all so much for being here this afternoon. We are excited to talk to you about the Crown Family School of Social Work Policy and Practices Advanced Standing Masters in Social Work program. Before we dive into the details, I want to start off with a quick round of introductions so you know who is in the room and we'll be speaking with you this afternoon. My name is Aleia McKessy. I am an Assistant Director of Admissions here at the Crown Family School. I am also an alum of the program, of the full-time program, so have been, through the process and know a little, have experienced it from the student side as well, which I'm happy and excited to share with you. Also here today from the admissions team, Ron Martin, our Director of Admissions, Jamal Banks, Assistant Director of Admissions, and Emma Toomey, our Admissions Specialist. They will be in the chat answering questions and sending links as we go through, so please feel free to reach out there if you need anything or have any questions. We'll also have some time at the end to answer anything over live as well. Also joining us, another member of our team is Kat Perkins, one of our student ambassadors and an advanced standing student. So she'll be able to share a little bit about her experience in the program thus far. And then we have two other members of the Crown Family Schools team, Kristen Reid Salomon, our assistant dean of students, excuse me, for and diversity and inclusion for the master's programs and PhD. So she will be here to talk about engagement and how students are involved at Crown and around campus. And then Melissa Williams, the field coordinator from the field education team, to talk about what field looks like for advanced standing students. So full agenda and lots of fun guests here to share a little bit. This is the agenda again. So kind of what I just mentioned. We'll talk about Crown and University of Chicago a little more broadly, and then dig into what this actually looks like for an advanced standing student and what curriculum will be. And then we'll talk about the field placement process, student development, and then close out with application requirements, deadlines, and our cost and financial assistance. Like I said, at the end, we'll also have time for questions. We will, feel free to share them in the chat or save them if you would like. A little history of the Crown Family School. We were originally named the School of Social Service Administration, and we're one of the first schools of social work in the United States, opening in 1908. In 1920, SSA became part of the University of Chicago. And then in early 2021, we changed our name due to a generous gift from the Crown family to the Crown Family School of Social Work Policy and Practice. We are currently ranked number 3 School of Social Work per US News and World Report. The Crown Family School has 3 overall programs that students can participate in. We'll be only talking about this first one, which is our Master's in Social Work, Social Policy, and Social Administration. And this program is for those who are interested in pursuing careers or assuming leadership roles across a diverse range of the social sector, crossing individual, family, community, management, and policy levels, both domestically and globally. This is our program that provides equivalent training to an MSW. We also have a Master of Arts in Social Sector Leadership and Nonprofit Management, which is for those who have some industry experience working or want to move into the social sector more at a leadership level or advancing into careers such as program managers, directors, and executives. And then the doctoral program, which is our PhD, which is designed to deepen students' mastery of the social science, theory, and research methods so then they can contribute to scholarly knowledge of innovative ways. Typically, the PhD opens doors to university level research and teaching positions or high level policy research. We like to start off talking about what is social work. And I think with this group, having advanced standing students coming in with a bachelor's in social work. This is a little bit of a review of what you're doing or have done in class, but making sure that we're all on the same page when it comes to the terms and kind of how we use them here at Crown. So we do like to start off with the definition of social work, the social profession per the NASW, or National Association of Social Workers, which is the primary mission of the social work profession, is to enhance human well-being and to help meet basic and complex needs of all people, with a particular focus on those who are vulnerable, oppressed, and living in poverty. So really thinking about not only the person, but also their environment, their communities, and the policies that impact them. We think of social work in these 3 levels of social work: the micro level practice, thinking about working more with individuals or small groups, working really one-on-one or in groups of people directly. This can be, the outcomes of this can be careers in counseling, casework, programming, things where you're on the ground working with the populations. We also have our meso level practice, which is working with groups or communities, thinking through careers in community organizing, working within local organizations or government. And then macro level practice, and this is really that high level intervention, working in policy, advocacy, or nonprofit administration or government. A little about our student demographics. So this is all of our social work master's students. So this is encompassing full-time, part-time, and our advanced standing cohorts all in one. You'll see we cover, we have students from 38 states and 14 countries. So we really draw students in and have students participate in our program from all over the country and really all over the world. The average age is 28 and the range is 22 to 57. I like to highlight this because I think it really gives a good idea of what the classroom environment will be. You'll have people who are coming just straight from undergrad, who have a couple years of experience, all the way through people who have 10, 15, 20 years of experience, or are career changers and coming from a different industry. Our race and ethnicity breakdown is there as well, and then our male and female breakdown on the side and the pie chart too. A little about the quarter system. So the University of Chicago, and therefore the Crown Family School, is on the quarter system. So you'll see on the slide the current academic year fall quarters. Our summer, fall, winter, and spring. They are 9-week quarters with true breaks in between each. So you will have breaks between each quarter to relax, to vacation, do other things that you need to do. The weekly schedule for advanced standing students during the school year, summers will look a little different, but in the fall, winter, and spring, you'll see typically students are in field placement Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and in class on Tuesday and Thursday. And the class times are listed there as well. So you'll see, be in class a couple of those times during the week. Our advanced standing program. So the program we're focusing on during this session, a little more specifics about this. So for our advanced standing students, they must have a bachelor's or BSW from a CSWE accredited institution within the past 5 years. It is a 1-year program. Due to that, a lot of the core and the foundational courses you will have taken or fulfilled already with your bachelor's. And so it's a 1-year program, 1 calendar year. So this is their only program that has a summer or a June start, and then goes for 1 full calendar year, finishing up end of May, early June the next year. There's 1 advanced field placement for this program, which we'll talk more about later, and around 20 to 30 students per year. So this is a nice, small to medium-sized cohort of students that are also coming in as advanced standing students starting in the summer. There's definitely opportunity to build a lot of relationships, especially starting off with people who have similar backgrounds, who have that BSW education. and some experience. And then you will join the full-time folks in the fall and get access to a whole nother group of students to connect with and to have your classes with. A little about our curriculum. So the curriculum of the Crown Family School is is designed to be an integrated curriculum that provides a holistic approach to social work education and training. We want students to come away from the program being able to respond to changing societal problems and to equip students with the skills needed to make a greater impact around the career they initially have the goal of doing, but also as their career progresses over time. So focusing on a comprehensive skill set and letting students really personalize the program to fit kind of what their interests and goals are. These are 10 key curriculum characteristics. So I like this slide because it definitely shares, just an overview of when we're thinking about our curriculum, what we hope stands out. Much of this we have already talked about or will talk about in more detail in the coming slides, but I think seeing it all kind of here just really shows, what our goals are when we're thinking about what we want students to come away from our program with. Thinking about the different levels of practice, focusing on social policy and advocacy, knowing that social workers, inherently are advocates and are coming into the program to make change and to do good in the world and to learn and focus on what those ultimate advocacy outcomes for through all levels. We have multidisciplinary perspective. I think this is another one that is really one of my favorite things about the program. We have students coming from other disciplines, other careers outside of the advanced standing program, which bring a lot into the classroom. But we also have faculty, many of whom are social workers, but we also have political scientists, sociologists, psychologists who are teaching in our program as well, and just gives a really good holistic understanding of the social work profession and what other ways people are involved in social work. This is the curriculum breakdown for advanced standing program. So students in the advanced standing program will take 2 core courses, a specialized diversity course, and then an advanced research and evaluation course. These are courses which you get to choose from a list of classes to fulfill those requirements in order to fulfill the core. The rest of the core that our students in other programs take are, again, done while you're in your bachelor's degree. Then students, outside of those 2 core courses, will have a lot of choice. And the first choice is choosing which pathway they see themselves that they want to take courses in. So these the 5 pathways are listed on this slide, and students will choose one of those to participate in. And they will take 3 courses within that pathway. The first course is an integrated course that looks at that topic holistically from micro to meso to macro perspectives. And then they get to choose 2 courses from a list of courses that fulfill the pathway requirements. And that can get a little bit more specific into a sub area within the pathway, or just broaden the horizon of the student, whatever class the student wants to take that they think will support their career goals or interests moving forward. Then there are then the levels of practice in this darker gray box at the bottom. Their students choose 2 courses in the levels of practice. And this is where students will take the courses in which they study how they plan to practice social work. And so by this, they can take micro level practice courses where they're studying clinical modalities, whether that be cognitive behavioral therapy, psychodynamic therapy. Our meso level practice, thinking about more organizational courses, and then the macro level practice, community organizing and planning, policy analysis and advocacy. And students choose 2 courses within the levels of practice. They can both be in the same level, but they could also be different levels. So you could take a clinical, more direct practice course as well as a macro level course. As long as you take 2, you're going to fulfill those requirements. And then students get 5 electives, and this is where students can take continued courses in the pathways, in other levels of practice. They can take courses outside of Crown. Really, they get to really fulfill whatever classes they're most interested in. This can include for the levels of practice, if students are interested in becoming licensed as licensed clinical social workers, they would continue to take any licensure prep courses within those electives as well. We have a couple different certificates for master's students, and for some of these, for these ones, advanced standing students are able to participate. We have our graduate program in health administration and policy, or GFAP, which is for the students who want to work within healthcare. This is a really cool interdisciplinary program. So there are students not only from Crown, but also from the policy school, the medical school, the law school, and the business school as part of that program. Kat, our student ambassador here today, is part of that program. So if you have questions, I'm sure she can speak more to that. We also have a school social work program. So if you're interested in working in a school setting, you can get your requirements in courses and field to become effective practitioners in schools. Alcohol and other drug counselor training program. If you're interested in working with populations who are affected by alcohol and other drug use, then this is a really great program. This and the schools are programs that students, it is really beneficial to take while you're in the program. So they're all counting to multiple things, versus having to go back and do them later. If it's a population you're interested in, definitely do it while you're here. And there's also a certificate in gender and sexuality studies. This is outside of Crown. It sits in the wider university. But if you're interested in this specific population or group, it's a great way to expand the courses there. Research. So research is a key component to an education at Crown. I think when, in the last couple of slides, it was mentioned on the component side, but also in the classes, all students take research, at least one, if not two research courses while they are here at Crown. And that's because we believe that research should inform and guide our best practices for evidence-based social work and social welfare policy. Students taking the courses and doing external research, if they wish, really learn, a lot about how to understand and read research, but also a lot of the skills that can flourish in the research environment are also skills that are transferable to other career paths and to other things that a student might do. Some of those skills are on this slide: conducting qualitative interviews, data collection and management, literature reviews, all things that definitely you can see have transferable skills to many of the careers that social workers end up in. Outside of the classroom involvement that students are required to do, there are also other ways to be involved in research if you want to really dive a little bit deeper into the research component of social work. That can include research assistantships, which are work study or non-work study opportunities to be involved in faculty research. There's our Office of Research Administration, and I provide funding for students who want to do their own research. So if you have an idea that you want to run with, that could potentially be an option. And then we also have plenty of research centers and institutes on campus, some of which are listed here, but there are many more. We're doing research around topics that many of our students are often interested in. And so if you're interested in a specific area, then you can also potentially support and be involved in their research as well. And now I am going to pause and turn it over to Melissa from the field team to talk a little about what field placements look like for advanced standing students.
Thank you, Leah. Hi, everybody. My name is Melissa Williams. I use she, her pronouns, and I am one of the field coordinators in the field education office. I'm happy to be here to talk to you a little bit about field placement opportunities and what field looks like here at Crown. Field work is an essential component of your time here at Crown. During field, you'll have an opportunity to truly apply theories and techniques that you're learning in the classroom into the field. And so for advanced standing students, you'll have one advanced advanced field placement. And students that are advanced standing have the opportunity to truly dive deep into our database, where you'll self-select what agencies you're interested in applying to directly, and you'll send over your documentation and interview with our agency partners. So we have over 600 plus agencies, and you will select the one that best fits with your interest and your career goals. For your field placement, you'll be in placement typically 2 to 3 days per week for the full time that you're here at Crown. So actually from fall quarter to the spring quarter. And so, but this process does start a little bit early. And so what I would like to recommend and highlight is that as soon as you accept your offer, you will actually be introduced to the field office. And I encourage you all that you connect with our office as soon as possible, because our current students are actually starting this process in early February. And we want to ensure that all of our advanced standing students that joining us for that upcoming school year start this process as soon as possible. And so we'll have a lot of great workshops being offered for our students that you all will have access to once you accept your offer. And we want to make sure that you get on board with the whole timeline and system as soon as possible. So definitely we'll have communication even before you start at Crown, just to ensure that you land a field placement that aligns with your interests and your goals. But like I mentioned, we have over 600 plus agency partners. We have partners all over the Chicago area and the outskirts of Chicago. And so those field placements are micro level levels of practice, and then macro or meso, depending on what your interests are. And if you find that, something might not necessarily align with your interests that we have in our database, we're always happy to reach out to agencies that specifically interest you and see if we can onboard them as an agency partner. We're always adding new field placement partners, and we're sure that we'll find something that best aligns with your interest as well. But I will be here if you all have any questions. Feel free to private chat me, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you all may have about field placements at Crown.
Thank you, Melissa. Wonderful. And I am going to continue to turn over to Kristen to talk about student engagement and development.
Hello, thank you. Awesome to be here with all of y'all today, and excited that you are considering our program as part of your educational journey. So again, I'm Kristen Reid Salomon, pronouns are she, her. I'm the Dean of Students, Diversity and Inclusion at Crown, and have the awesome job of being able to lead and manage a lot of our student engagement and development initiatives for all of our student programs. So my office manages orientation and graduation, academic advising, your scholarship, and also helps connect students to different campus resources. We have a very students first philosophy. We're very conscious around identity and backgrounds that our students are bringing into the school, and a lot of our programming and initiatives and policies reflect that. So one of the main ways that we work with students, at least on the advising side, is really through that academic advising, providing one-on-one and group advising support for students. We start advising even before students get here. So, quarter before, we typically have a group advising to make sure all students know what's coming up, how to register for classes, what policies might be relevant for you for that upcoming quarter, and really just, there to answer any questions. So there's a good deal of support, and we really do have a open door policy, welcome any questions. Another piece of our office is career and leadership development. Of course, one of the main reasons students come and are pursuing a master's degree is because you're wanting to further your career. So we really do provide really engaging, really focused career development opportunities. We provide one-on-one coaching. We have information sessions with our different employer partners. There's a lot of employers around the Chicagoland area and beyond, but a lot of folks are alums, and so they come back and they want to hire current students or let you know what the opportunities are, so that you can consider their organization in your own journey. So we provide those connections. We'll have alumni panels or panels for folks who are in different careers, so you get a sense of what that looks like. We're having a panel coming up next month for people who have social work degrees but might be interested in higher education. So there's all sorts of opportunities for you to learn about different career fields and pathways that you can go down. And then we also have career connections. So these are really great experiential opportunities. Our biggest one is Washington Week, where we take a students for about 3 days, not a full week, but close, to Washington to meet with alums, to hear from policy leaders, folks working in government and nonprofit and community organizations in the nation's capital. So a really cool place, a backdrop for folks to work in. And it's a fun time. We get to do some tours and just get to, be in a different setting for a few days. I can talk, for on and on about a career, but really want to give some time to the leadership development piece of the CLD team. So we really do feel like leadership is really important, and we think about leadership for positive social change. And so our leadership efforts are focused on self, group, and community, and being able to advance your skills and abilities in those areas. And so students can do that in a variety of ways. We obviously have different workshops and programming and strengths building sessions that students can attend, but we also have ways for students to get engaged in student organizations. We have our own student government association, and there's a lot of community building and ways to just increase engagement through those organizations and through the programming that happens in the leadership development side of the office. And I think the next slide is just some photos, some evidence of the things that we just talked about. So some of our programming, again, Washington Week, us having a panel and documentary with one of our alums. I'm trying to think some other things, graduation here at the end, Advocacy Day, one of the programs that Leadership Development does, taking some students to Springfield here in Illinois to meet with state leaders and legislators around different bills and policies that really affect communities and are connected to a lot of the work and research that our students are doing. So yep, just a sample of some of the cool and really impactful things that come out of our office. Okay, I'll take this one too. So civic engagement. As you can imagine, strengthening our relationship with the surrounding community, the Chicagoland community, is really important and a key value for us at Crown. And so we've got an amazing office, our Office of Community Partnership and Impact, that really helps to figure out how we live out those values within the community. So one of the main things that this office does is really help deepen our students' learning, helping you to think about the concepts and the practices that you might be learning about in class and how those actually take shape in the community. So we do take students into communities to learn from civic leaders. There's a civic treks program that this office puts on that students really do love and gets them to meet different community leaders and into different neighborhoods around Chicago that they may not otherwise, get to go to. This office also helps create research partnerships. So faculty or students that might be doing certain research need to figure out how this actually impacts the community that you're hoping it will positively impact. So how do we make those connections? This office can do that as well. And then this office also helps to steward our Obama Foundation Scholars Program, which is a really great leadership development program with students in Crown, in Booth, in Harris, and all sorts of other programs across the university that are all working towards some sort of positive social change. And the Scholars Program helps to lift that up and helps provide some additional training and development in those areas. And then above all, this office really is wanting to make sure that Crown's impact is known and felt, that we're looking to see where are the needs in the larger Chicagoland community and how can our students and our faculty help to provide and serve in ways that are meaningful. And then how can we connect our faculty again with meaningful research that really benefits the community. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Kristen. Great. So a little, connected to all of that, like Kristen said, the ultimate goal of a graduate program is to go on and have a career in social work, whatever that means to each student. So this slide, while quite broad, I think shows just some of the ways that our alumni are working in the field, and how just really broad those areas are. So within these, we see student or alumni, I should say, going on and working in all different levels of these agencies. So social service agencies and organizations, working in hospitals, within the school systems, doing private consulting or private practice or partnership groups. And working in colleges and universities. Really again, our alumni are just really all over the place. And I think the benefit of a social work degree, and especially a social work degree here at Crown, is that there's not one prescribed thing that all students go off and do. There is plenty of diversity and an experience, both while you're in the classroom and also once you graduate, to provide the experience that you want to have, both when you first graduate from the program, but also as you move through your career. The application requirements. So you will see on this is just our basic list of our application documents and requirements. More details about all of this stuff can be on our website, and we're happy to share more verbally as well. Our online application is where you're uploading all of the documents and getting all the demographic information in place. We'll also require transcripts from your bachelor's degree and any classes that you've taken across accredited institutions. A comprehensive resume. So we want your resume to showcase all the things that you've done in your education or career that's relevant to social work. So this is really, the snapshot of the work you've done so far. Any volunteer work, internships, full-time roles, anything like that. And then our candidate statement. This is a 4-page document. There are 2 prompts, so you'll follow those prompts and answer questions about your goals, why you're interested in social work in Crown, and how you see the degree getting you to that place. Again, the prompts are on our website and will help to guide that statement. And then we require 3 letters of recommendation. If you're currently or recently an undergrad, which most advanced standing students are, we do require that 2 of those be academic references. This can come from faculty or professors. It can also be research, people you've done research under, staff or academic advisors, anyone that knows can speak to your academic ability and how you'll flourish. The 3rd letter, or if you're a little farther out from undergrad and you may not still be in quite as close touch with the academic pieces, those can be professional references. So people that you've worked with or for, field placement, that's a great one, especially if you're currently an undergrad, someone that knows and has experienced you in the field, whether that be the actual field supervisor or someone from your school that knows how you're doing in field, anyone that can speak to the professional experiences as well. And our application deadline. So we still have plenty of time before our first deadline of December 1st for an admissions decision by February 15th or earlier. So that is very helpful, especially for, as Melissa was stating, all the different processes that start as soon as you're committed to Crown. That earlier deadline is going to be beneficial if you're able. If you're not able for December 1st, that's okay. I think it's actually December 2nd this year. That's okay. We have a January 15th deadline as well. And we'll release decisions as soon as we can post that January 15th deadline, up to about 4 to potentially 6 weeks after. And the application is currently open. So if you have any specific questions about your application or need any support, we're happy to help with that as well. Our cost for our program. So for the advanced standing program, this is this current academic year's cost, but it is just 1 year, so it says per year, but it's just the 1 year for all you. That would be our tuition, $68,964. Again, all considering all 4 quarters. The student services fee and transcript fee. The transcript fee is a one-time fee that is to have, then you have the ability to access your transcripts for life. So you don't have to go pay for them if you ever need to request them for future use. The UPass is that $500 fee. This is our transportation pass. So if you choose to enroll in the UPass, it's not required. But if you do choose to pay that fee and enroll in the UPass, you then have access during the school year for unlimited access to the CTA trains and buses. If you're commuting using public transportation, especially to field, but even to class, this is a really great pass that is definitely worth the cost when adding up all the times you're on public transportation during the academic sessions. And then the University of Chicago health insurance cost is listed there as well. This is a fee that can be waived if you have health insurance through another through another way. So whether that be parents, spouses, work, however you may have health insurance already. If that's not going away, then you don't have to. You can waive out of the University of Chicago health insurance. If you don't, you are required to have health insurance, so you would have to utilize the universities. Other expenses we encourage students to consider as they're thinking through graduate programs, really more generally, but here at Crown too, are things that vary quite a bit depending on the person. Things like room and board, personal supplies, books will depend on the course and the program. But these are all going to be pretty variable. So thinking about how you live, where you plan to live with roommates, alone, all these are going to change that cost. But definitely something to consider as you're thinking about the overall cost of going to grad school. Financial assistance. The University of Chicago's Crown Family School does offer our Dean's Scholarship every year. We award about $4 million annually. So we try as best as we can to support students with that cost of grad school. And 98% of admitted students receive some sort of scholarship award from Crown, regardless of citizenship. These Dean scholarships come in the form of merit-based scholarships that are application-based. So, there's nothing else you have to do to be considered for these scholarships if you apply for the program. There's one checkbox to make sure to check on the application that says, yes, I'm interested in scholarships. But if you check that box, you will be automatically considered based on the strength of your application. Students are also utilizing federal student loans if eligible to complete the FAFSA. We encourage students to do so as soon as they submit your application, as you submit your application. I think this year they plan to open that application on December 1st. So if you apply before then just as soon as it opens up, you can submit the FAFSA. The school code is listed there. Students are also encouraged to look for outside scholarships. We have some resources on our website and that we can email, but doing searches on your own is also a great way to find those. Work study opportunities. So we mentioned the research assistants that can potentially be work study, but also the university has work study jobs across campus. And so this is if eligible for the FAFSA and federal aid. But work study is a great way to work part-time, as work here in admissions. The Dean of Students Office has some graduate assistants, but also many of the other divisions across campus do as well. So you're not limited to only Crown. You can also apply for jobs. I had friends who worked at the museums. I worked in Central Grad admissions. Lots of different options depending on what works best for you. Outside loans, something some students utilize as well, and then fellowships. While Crown doesn't offer any specific fellowships, the University of Chicago grad does have a fellowships database where you can find potential fellowships to apply for. Just make sure when you're looking at those fellowships that you can complete the requirements alongside all the requirements of a Crown social work master's degree, just to make sure you're not loading yourself up with too much with that additional fellowship work, if there is any. And then I like to wrap up this presentation specifically about why choose Crown. And this specific slide is pretty specific to who's presenting. So these are my reasons. This is why I chose Crown when I was attending or applying and looking at schools. And everyone is, going to have a different answer. But I focused on some of these already. The interdisciplinary approach. I really enjoyed learning from faculty across the spectrum of from social work to sociology to political science. I think it really enhanced my understanding of the world of social work and the work that I was doing in the field. Global perspectives, we're thinking, all those levels of social work, but also considering in almost every class what this looks like globally, nationally, locally, and thinking about just all the different ways that different places and different people are doing this work. I specifically studied global social work or global social development, which is one of the pathways and is a great option, but all students will definitely understand at least the base level of this perspective as well. Lifelong learning connections. This is one being an alum. There are a lot of ways to stay connected to the university. Even before I worked here, I was still very much in the know of what was going on and connected to colleagues and classmates from my year, but also faculty. I knew I could connect with them if I had any questions or needed anything. And continuing on with the ways students can get continuing education credits and continue to learn as they go through their social work journey. And then community engagement. I think this is, connected to a lot of what Kristen said and mentioned in the Dean of Students office. I found this in my classmates, in my cohort of students who really just, it's an important piece of being at Crown to build that community, both within the smaller groups like the advanced standing class, but also within the wider Crown community based on mutual interests or goals. And I'm still in touch with plenty of my fellow graduates from my year and other years. And that community really shows while you're here, but also can continue into the future as well. So again, those are my reasons, but I just like to share a little bit about some of the things that I think stands out and makes Crown unique. And our contact if you want to hear anyone else's reasons or just speak to us more specifically about your application or any specific questions that you'd rather chat with us about individually, you can contact us. All of our contact or emails are there, but definitely the best way to get in touch with any of us is that admissions inbox. Emma is our champion and primarily responds, but we all have access and will connect if needed. You can also set up one-on-one virtual calls with us as well as with our student ambassadors. So if you want to just chat separately from this call or this webinar, we're happy to set those up as well. And that is the end of the formal presentation. Looks like we have plenty of time for any questions. So I will stop sharing my screen so we can see everybody. And yeah, open the floor to any questions. If there isn't any questions, also I did want to have Kat talk. I mentioned we talked about field placement and then just fully skip by. So I'd love to hear kind of so far your experience in the advanced standing program and what your field placement's looking like so far.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
So hi everyone, my name is Kat. I graduated from my undergrad back in May, and then I started this year as an advanced standing student. So I went right into it. And honestly, I'm really glad that I did. I am someone who knew that if I didn't go straight in, I would not go back. So I'm really glad that I did. And so far I've been like really lucky to be able to meet such an intelligent and diverse group of people in the advanced standing cohort. Like it's actually like such a huge advantage to be able to have so many different people that I now call like really good friends from so many different backgrounds across the world and across the country, to be able to like come into this space and kind of work towards the same goal, whether that be, macro placements and like policy or administration, or like more micro placements is like community work or like face to face, things like that. I have been really lucky to be able to meet such interesting people. So far, I'm really loving all of my classes. All my teachers that I've experienced so far have been so knowledgeable and so wonderful. It's definitely like you can tell the quality of education is a huge step up from at least my undergraduate program. All my teachers like work outside of teaching, which is such an advantage because they're giving us real life examples and I'm in the like clinical side of things, not so much administration, but for the LCSWs that I get to be taught from, like I get to understand how that would look like in a real situation in the real workplace, which is so I think it's a big advantage, to be honest. And then for my field placement, I am at the Stroger Hospital of Cook County, which is like west of Chicago. Still in Chicago, but like on the west side of things, so away from the water. And I am working in the physical trauma and burn unit. So little spooky, little gory, but it's been such a big learning experience for me. Like last year, in my undergraduate, I was kind of more on the admin side and I kind of wanted to, pick things up, kind of use a different frame of social work. And that's exactly what this placement has done. And I told, Melissa kind of like my interests and what I was looking for. And then the field office and Melissa as well were like really able to help me like kind of pare down what I would actually really like to do and then go from there, pick the placements that I was interested on the database and then kind of interview from there and kind of see where I think would be a good fit for me. And so far, I'm really loving my field placement. I love my co-intern who's from a different school. She's given me a whole bunch of knowledge. My field, I guess, instructor, the boss that I report to, is also a Crown alum. He's so cool. He is so knowledgeable and so down to earth. And honestly, I think it's a big advantage that he was a Crown alum because he knows exactly what I'm going through now. And he can like give me advice on both like school and work and how, the same concepts that he learned when he was in school are applying to him now. And, it's just a really cool bridge that I've been able to make because of Crown. So yeah, I think that's it. It's my spiel.
Thank you. That was helpful. I don't see any questions in the chat, so feel free to, yeah, Alyssa.
So I have just one question. So I'm a senior right now, at Miami of Ohio, and I was curious, so you said application deadlines are December 1st or 2nd, when the earliest, we would hear back, or is it you are definitely gonna hear back in 2025?
So it depends. We review applications and send out decisions on a rolling basis. So as soon as your decision is ready, we will send it out.
Okay, I didn't know if it was like
That's-
you have to wait a certain, okay.
Yeah, so it's hard to say then exactly. It's partially like what, how the review process is going, how quickly things are getting done. The goal is to get them out as soon as possible, especially for our advanced standing students with the field and all the other things that students are doing. The goal would be, early January would hopefully be the latest, but it could, end of January, if, before we get everything out. But that's the goal. Earlier the better for us as
All
well.
right. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Of course. Yeah, Lily.
Hi. I don't know if anyone can answer this, but I'm actually a Canadian student and I was interested in applying, and I was wondering if there's any like specific requirements for Canadian students, or does that fit into like the international aspect of things?
So no, there are no additional requirements for you. We actually have a Canadian student. Stop scratching me. Sorry, cat. Um, we actually have a Canadian student in the program that is standing in this year's cohort. There are no additional requirements that she needs to complete. No, like, what do you call it? Transcript evaluation or anything like that. We'll evaluate the transcripts in-house. Um, yeah, so we think you'll be fine.
Right, thank you.
Yeah, so there was also a question, Kat, into a little about the AM versus an MSW. So we are fully CSWE accredited, and you can get your LCSW post-graduation, just like students with a more traditional MSW. It's exact. We have the same degree, it's just named something different. So don't worry. And employers, once you have the LCSW, it really is what they're looking for anyway. But for the employer piece, it's either a quick explanation or, you know, utilizing the equivalent to an MSW on the resume, and that's, you know, people usually know it's the University of Chicago. That's not, you know, we're not necessarily a secret. But if there's any confusion, it's a pretty clear answer once you know, are able to speak with them.
There's nothing. I lied. I'm sorry. You'll want to make sure that your degree program meets CSWE accreditation standards. So that's the one that you'll have to do. So I'm going to put the link in the chat there for degree review. Just go to the website. Just make sure that your school meets accreditation standards. So, yeah.
Any other questions? Okay. Well, if not, we will, I can definitely stick around for a few more minutes, but if you have anything that comes up, please, like we mentioned, do not hesitate to reach out. I'm gonna put our bookings link in there, or you can reach out to us via email. We are happy to help, you know, as you're applying or making decisions. But I hope you have a really wonderful rest of your day, and thank you so much again for attending this afternoon.
Thank you.